Hello and welcome everybody to the Life After PBA podcast. And today we have Gianluigi from Kylix Finance here with us today. He's a graduate of the fourth PBA in Hong Kong, and actually that's where we met. So my name is William. Hi, I'm the host of the podcast. Gianluigi, I guess we'll just start off with a quick intro from you. If you could
Sure,
introduce a little bit about yourself and the project.
absolutely. Actually, thanks a lot, William. Very happy to be here. My name is Gianluigi, and I am a PBA graduate, actually from Hong Kong, January 2024. And my background is mostly come from traditional finance. I used to work in mostly in banking and lending products in different areas of the world, mostly Germany, UK, Italy, and Mexico. And I've been several years in crypto space as well. I also joined, as I said, PBA, so Polkadot Blockchain Academy. That it was actually quite an experience. It's where actually I met you, William, as well. It was exactly PBA where I had the idea to build a Kylix Finance. It is an intermediary lending platform that allow user to participate as lenders and earn interest, other users to participate as borrowers and borrow assets, and other users to participate as liquidators. The main concept of the whole platform is that it's built on Substrate, it's built on Polkadot, but it is made to be multi-chain. So it is made to handle cross-chain assets without actually moving them, without moving cross-chain asset between chains and without using wrapped asset. The unique selling proposition, so the innovation, is that we are using a particular architecture that is we can do thanks to Substrate, thanks to the speed of the execution of the technology that allow us to replicate how a central exchange works, but in a decentralized way. So we have our main hub, our central bank that is made on Substrate, and then we have different branches in the other chains. It can be Solana, Sui, Sei, whatever. And those branches communicate with the central bank, the central Kylix bank, that is handled the liquidity in a virtual way. So it's we are abstracting the lending logic, and we allow user to lend and borrow assets that belong to different places, different chains, lie in a unified way, in the same platform. So using a cross-chain UX, and also we have
That's interesting.
yeah,
So in a way, you are taking the ideals of Polkadot, right? Which is to be an interoperable cross-chain environment, but you're actually extending it beyond what Polkadot supports today, right?
indeed,
You go actually outside the Polkadot ecosystem.
indeed.
So can you talk? Can you just give us a little bit more detail on that, and how I guess first how that came to pass, but also how you're actually bringing that into practice.
Sure, of course. Think a bit how a centralized exchange works. For instance, you, William, you want to use, let's say, Binance, and you want to swap cross-chain assets between each other. So you have some Ethereum, and you want to convert them in Polkadot. First of all, you made a transaction, Ethereum transaction to Binance. So Binance is registering that you have these assets, and then you ask Binance to do a swap operation between Ethereum and Polkadot, and then you do a withdraw operation. So you get your asset back from Binance to your account. Well, the only, let's say, on-chain operation are the deposit and the withdraw. When you do a swap, so when you swap Ethereum to Polkadot, the Binance doesn't do any on-chain operation to do this swap. They have an internal ledger. They have a database that simply says, okay, William doesn't have anymore this Ethereum token. Now he has this Polkadot ones. And it's exactly the same way Kylix works. So we handle cross-chain liquidity. So you are able to deposit liquidity cross-chain liquidity in their own chains and to withdraw liquidity from their own chains. But Kylix, thanks to the substrate technology we have, is registering the settlements. It's just registering the settlements, the intent. So through substrate, we expose these lending pools that are an abstraction of like some liquidity pools, where we abstract the fact that you can deposit Ethereum asset, you can borrow Polkadot asset, and you can also participate as I say, liquidator through a collateral marketplace.
Sounds good. And you also mentioned the speed of Substrate.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how, that, I guess, how that differs from other ecosystems and how that enabled this product to be built?
The interesting part about Substrate is that it allows, it's like, probably also as Gemi would say, it's like a modular Ethereum, which is even what Ethereum should have always been. It gives you the possibility to build your own L1 blockchain, and you are building on-chain logic, on-chain structure. It's like having a specialized blockchain for your purpose. On the other side, when you're using EVMs, you are executing logic on top of a virtual machine. And executing logic of a virtual machine means that you have much slower execution. You cannot do some high, let's call it a high trading operation on an EVM. Substrate itself can be even 1,000 times faster than EVM logic. So on a smart contract, and that actually was a perfect need for us in order to handle cross-chain settlements on our Kylix hub.
And tell us a little bit about how the idea came to fruition. You mentioned that it was actually at the PBA where you were introduced to the different parts of Substrate and the capabilities, and somehow this I guess this resonated with your past history in finance. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. So especially the third and the fourth week of the PBA, they gave us a lot of insights and knowledge about how to build a platform using Substrate. The first 2 weeks, they were more general. So they were explaining us a lot of concepts related to cryptography, game theory, and UX model. But the third, especially the third and the fourth one, we grasped a lot of how the Polkadot technology and Substrate technology work. And even the last assignment was one of the last assignments was to build centralized, DEX, decentralized exchange like Uniswap on top of Substrate. So this was, very important for me in order to be able to build a first prototype, proof of concept of the project, that then evolved into Kylix. The idea itself came from the fact that the main concern that we were discussing also with other PBA fellows is that due to the increasing presence of multi-chain environments, user DeFi platforms generally suffer from two problems. One is liquidity fragmentation and liquidity shortage, liquidity. And the other one was actually the weak integration between the blockchains, a problem that actually Polkadot solved in its own ecosystem, because the Polkadot itself brought a lot of integration between relay chain, of course, and the parachain thanks to XCM protocol. But outside the Polkadot itself, we don't really have a solution like XCM. Of course, there are a lot of bridging solutions, but it's the problem is not that we lack of bridges. It's just like these bridges are not really optimal in terms of user experience. They introduce another level of complexity, and the real problem relies on the fact that there are technical issues being multi-chain, like cross-chain finality and blockchain asynchronicity. So the idea was, let's create a multi-chain platform, but without actually being multi-chain. So without the problem of being multi-chain, and that's how Kylix is born.
Yeah, and I guess one thing that's interesting about this, again, thinking about the multi-chain vision is and uniting different ecosystems.
Yeah.
Generally each ecosystem is a little bit insular. They're really just concerned about their own ecosystem. It's all driven by their own token, right? And their own network effect. But Kylix is somehow crossing all of these. What do you see as the challenges in, I guess, getting people that are within a certain ecosystem to participate in a cross ecosystem, lending pool or protocol? Or do you see that that people really want to be, multi-chain across ecosystems?
No, actually, this is a really good question you're making, because we somehow we still have this sentiment of the maximalism. Actually, it started this blockchain maximalism. It started, of course, with Bitcoin, and then later on things started to change, especially after the introduction of Ethereum. The point itself is that it's the multi-chain environment. It's society, actually, I would say. It's something that is getting bigger and bigger. New chains they are developed, and they're still developing a new system, new ecosystem, new chains. So the fragmentation is going to increase in the future. It's not something that somehow it's true what you're saying, that we have now still a group of people that are kind of maximalist in their own chains. So they are, we can see, especially the people, I would say the boomers from Bitcoin, the people that are, whales of Bitcoins, that they don't even consider the DeFi system. That's why there are a lot of attempts to bring the DeFi to Polkadot rather than bringing the Polkadot whales to other DeFi ecosystem. And but this is changing and it will change even more in the long run. So it's not a question on how we bring people from different chains in other ecosystems. This is something that will happen naturally due to the fact that the number of chains are increasing, and every chain have a different technology, also different purpose. And so the question here is how we can make all these chain coexist and leverage each other value proposition. I will actually also add this question, saying that I want also to bring an added value to Polkadot, that the fact that so far Polkadot is everyone knows that it's really a superior technology compared to other system. But it still has a very somehow lower liquidity, like comparing to Ethereum, has 500 times less the liquidity of Ethereum. So the aim of Kylix Finance is also to bring more liquidity from different chains to the Polkadot ecosystem, increasing actually their own total value locked. And yes, and we want to nurture to improve the DeFi ecosystem of Polkadot. That is still kind of small compared to other chains.
And just thinking from your background in traditional finance, do you think that Kylix is a product that can help, merge Web 2 and Web 3? Will traditional finance, banks or other kinds of institutions, will they be enabled to come to Web 3 by Kylix? Is this a product, for the near future for them, or the farther future?
I can tell you that this is a direction that we must take, because blockchain itself, it cannot exist completely isolated from a real world application. And especially DeFi, they have, it's a really enormous opportunity, to give to, I mean, to know the enormous opportunity as a service, as an opportunity to give it to the real world. Blockchain itself and the communities, they have this tendency to keep blockchain and blockchain services as somehow in a very isolated way. But the real success of the blockchain is itself when actually we found a real application of the world. We give a benefit to people outside the blockchain. There, in this moment, is where the blockchain wins. So, as I mentioned before, this is definitely a direction we want to take, and we're going to do this first offering through our partner, Pendulum, fiat lending pools. So pools where the user will be able to deposit through an on-ramp and off-ramp layer the real currencies, and this will be targeted especially for with through stable coins that belongs to emergency market like emergent market like Argentina dollars. It is not something that we will do in the short run, because first we wanted to bring a unique selling proposition as a lending platform on blockchain. But we will consider, I mean, we will definitely move in this direction on a phase 2. So I would say Q3, Q4 of 2025. In a phase 2, we will offer product that will help to merge our value proposition with the traditional finance.
Sounds good. And so I want to move a little bit from Kylix as a business. A lot of what we want to do here is we want to speak to other potential attendees of the Polkadot Blockchain Academy.
Yes.
And, we want to talk a little bit about the journey of creating a business from the Academy.
Okay.
And, we've had hundreds of graduates, but
Yes.
maybe only a few. Many have started their own projects. Many have joined other projects.
Yes.
But I guess only a few have gone to the length of creating a protocol, creating a blockchain, acquiring a parachain slot. That's something that Kylix has. And so I wanted to ask a few questions kind of about the journey there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll start maybe with a hard question, but maybe I'd love to hear about the challenges in starting the project.
Of course.
Maybe you can give us a little bit of realism of being a graduate, deciding to go to start your own thing, and tell us a little bit about the challenges that you've encountered.
Sure, absolutely. Actually, this is a really good question, and actually, there's a lot to talk about it, because I have to start saying that for me, it's not the first time I'm running a business. I already ran business in the past in traditional finance. And I would say, anyway, this is probably my first. In a Web3, in the Web3 space. The difference between, there are differences between the different. There are two different approaches, of course, and I would say the Web3 anyway gives you pretty, a benefit compared to the Web2 market or even traditional finance, considering that. You in a Web3 you can really get much quicker traction if you have let's say a good idea, or you have a good technology to offer as a value proposition to the market or to your user. And it's very interesting because compared to a traditional finance service, I used to work in financial technology, but related to banking, it is pretty traditional. Compared to this world, Web3 essentially they are not, let's say, stopped by regulation. So you are much more free to create your own, let's say, a project without really dealing too much with all the world of the regulation that generally is very vertical on the country where actually you want to start a project. And on the other side, still in Web3, whenever you have let's say a good idea or a good technology, you can quickly create a community, you can quickly gain traction, you can quickly actually show that there is an actual interest on your product. And traditional, instead of Web 2, these things actually comes later, and really there's no really the concept of a community, especially related to financial products, so yeah, it's much the pace is much different because Web3 is much quicker. You can even you get much quicker feedbacks, and yeah, it's pretty exciting in this sense. There are anyway big challenges, and the big challenges, especially from someone who comes out at PBA and have a really good idea, is that of course you need the resources. You need someone that. Especially if you have a complex project, you need people that work with you, and you need to build a team, and you need to pay these people, if you believe in the project. Generally, if there is your idea is really good, there will be people willing to join you, and share the risk of building a project, let's say, without, let's say, in a brutal way, a salary. But on the other side, many people, of course, they need to be compensated because, of course, everyone has different needs, economical needs. So the first thing is, to be able to obtain enough resources to bootstrap your project. And in the case of Kylix, we have been very lucky because thanks to Decentralized Future, they believed in our vision, and so they gave us a grant, And through this grant, it was possible to bootstrap, let's say, the initial project, the first team. And then with the time, other retail investor came, they gave more, we got more resources. And so this actually gave us time also to start to talk with VC. And now we are in the process, to execute a fundraise. So I think the biggest probably challenge is this one, to be able to get resources. But for everyone that comes out of PBA, my suggestion is please approach grants. This is the quickest way to get resources, and is the best way to have the initial liquidity to start the real process.
And I believe usually another challenge is finding the team, right?
Indeed.
And you talked a little bit about it. I believe you have quite a few PBA graduates on the team also.
Yeah, indeed. Actually, this is another really good point. It was actually PBA helped a lot because the initial team was only composed by PBA guys. So people coming from Polkadot Blockchain Academy. And getting traction in this sense was pretty straightforward because myself, I developed the first proof of concept of the project. I showed to other PBA candidates, PBA actually fellows, and in this way actually they got interest in the project, and we formed the team, and it was pretty quick, pretty fast.
And as time went on, I guess it's been now maybe 10 months or so since we all graduated from the PBA.
Yes.
How has that changed? I guess have you kind of expanded the team members, and have you found them from more places?
Yes. Mostly now, we found also someone coming from the next cohort of the PBA that joined the team. But once the project got some traction, we met new people, that were belonging to the Polkadot ecosystem, and now we are kind of 50 people working on the project in a different areas. We are not all technicals. There's people working in marketing. We have an ambassador program where applied 300 person. And we have some people working, more on business side. Some people working on the financial side. So the group became more heterogeneous, and now the main focus is finish to build the first version of the product, goes to testnet, invite some of the user to test our product, and execute now another funding round in order to also to execute auditing on the platform, and finally release the whole project in around April of 2025.
It's coming up pretty soon.
Yes.
So I guess also, from the ideation until now, what has changed about how you think about the business? Have you had a, pivot? I guess the idea is generally similar, but have there been any pivots or changes in worldview or changes in target?
Yeah, no, actually, I would rather say that our main focus at the beginning was only related to Polkadot, and then we decided to extend the technology to be multi-chain, and that actually became our main value proposition. As I said, the first idea to be only in Polkadot was actually to increase the total value locked, the liquidity belonging to Polkadot. And then we decided to move to extend our narrative to other chains, because actually we wanted to. I would rather say that we wanted that the first Polkadot benefiting, to getting other assets from different chains. So we want actually to give let's say a boost in the sense to the Polkadot ecosystem, and keep anyway coherent with the Polkadot philosophy that it is to connect different chains together. The main value proposition anyway didn't change, so we are still a lending platform that allow user to lend, to borrow, and also to liquidate, in the terms that Polkadot, especially at the time in January 2024, they didn't have really a lending platform with advanced product like marketplace for liquidation of collaterals like Kujira in Cosmos. And based on my interest in lending products, I wanted to bring it this type of advanced DeFi product inside the Polkadot in order to nurture the Polkadot DeFi ecosystem. That time was still not so developed. Yeah.
So we are coming up to the end of our show here. I wanted to ask you, I guess, two questions.
Sure.
First, tell us about any long-term goals with the project,
Yes.
right? Where do you want to head in the farther future? And of course, any advice that you may have to developers that want to start their own project.
Sure. So the first thing first, we need to release the platform. We have a unique selling proposition that we want to release on the market, like self-repaying loans and unique the marketplace for liquidation of collaterals. The long term is, as I mentioned before, the integration with traditional finance. We want to create a fiat lending pool, so lending pools that allow to normal, let's say, user outside the blockchain to deploy their liquidity, their wealth. And also, I really want, maybe this comes from my experience in the credit history, credit risk. We want to create a under collateralized loan for institutionals. So we want to create a products that they still don't exist in any chain, in the not only in Polkadot but in the DeFi space. And this instead for your second question, they really, my suggestion that I have is whenever you have a good idea and you want to bring it on the market, and you want to give a benefit to user of a community, first validate your idea through, or your community. See actually if it is a market need, I would say even check if the local regulations allow you to execute this idea, but this actually applies especially in traditional finance, probably much more traditional finance. And third, please access to grants, because if your idea is valid, you will get funding in order to bootstrap your project. VCs, is a really good way, but generally is a slower process to get obviously to give you funds. Instead, the grants is very a quick way to get the initial liquidity for bootstrapping.
Definitely. And yeah, I guess that we should give a shout out to all of the different grant programs on Polkadot, right? We have W3F grants,
Yes.
which are mainly very technical focused. So about, building new technology or new protocol layer things. We have, what else do we have? We have a .play grant program if you're building in the gaming ecosystem. We have the Polkadot Treasury, right? That is a fund that all token holders can vote.
Absolutely.
And I guess going off the top of my head, I don't know. I think we maybe forgot one or two of them, but we will definitely update you after the show. In any case, I will have a few concluding remarks from the PBA, and then I'll give you the last word. For all of you out there, we actually have a new class of the PBA starting soon. And this is a little bit different than the past classes in that it is going to be fully online. So it's going to be open to a much wider range of people. It is open to developers and non-developers. And this is going to be, a high quality, part-time education program that you can do online, and it will start at the beginning of the year. So to find out more and to sign up, please go to PBAX, those 4 letters, pbax.polkadot.academy. And spaces are limited, so if you're interested, please sign up soon. And then there will be an in-person cohort a little bit after that. So if you just pay attention to the webpage, then you can find out more. But yeah, thank you. That's all from me, William. And Gianluigi, any last message for our audience?
Yeah, thank you very much, actually. And definitely please follow our socials on especially Twitter, x.com, Kylix Finance, and our website, kylix.finance.com. That's it. Thank you very much.
All right. We will see you all next month.